She was a powerful CEO who thought she had life figured out. Until one night, she followed her janitor home and discovered a truth that would shatter everything she believed about success. What would you do if the person you walk past every day without a second glance was living a life that could change how you see the world? That's exactly what happened to Margaret Foster, a CEO who believed she knew what really mattered. Picture this, it's nearly midnight in downtown Chicago. The office towers stand dark and silent, except for one building where the cleaning crew moves through the halls like ghosts. Among them is a man named Terrence Washington. He's quiet, unremarkable, just another janitor in a gray uniform pushing a cart full of supplies. Nobody notices him. Nobody remembers his name. Margaret is the opposite. She's sharp, polished, always in motion. Expensive suits, designer heels, phone glued to her hand. People step aside when she walks by. In her mind, people like Terrence are just part of the scenery, there but not really there. But one night something shifts. Margaret is working late, finishing a presentation. Through the glass wall, she sees Terrence pause by his cart. He pulls out a small photograph from his pocket and stares at it for a long time. The look on his face stops her cold. It's not just tiredness. It's something heavier, like he's carrying a weight she can't name. She can't shake it. The next evening she sees him again. Same quiet presence, same careful movements, and again that same distant look in his eyes. Finally, she stops him in the hallway. "Long night?" she asks, her voice sharper than she means it to be. Terrence looks up, surprised. His voice is calm. Every night's long, but somebody's got to do it. No anger, no bitterness, just truth. He nods and moves on. Margaret stands there, frozen. She doesn't know why, but something about him unsettles her. Who is this man, really? What happens when he leaves these halls? She has the corner office, the power, the respect. But somehow, his silence makes her feel like maybe, just maybe, she doesn't know as much as she thinks. That's when she makes a decision that will change everything. The next week, Margaret can't stop watching him. Not because she has to, but because she can't help it. Every night she catches glimpses of Terrence moving through the building, methodical, steady, never complaining. She notices things. He hums softly while he works. He always straightens the chairs just right. And every single night at 1:15 a.m., he sits by the vending machine for exactly 5 minutes, staring at nothing, lost in thought. One evening, she passes him in the break room. "You're here late again," Terrence says without looking up. Margaret blinks. Staff doesn't usually address her directly. "Deadlines," she replies. "That's the life of a CEO." Terrence chuckles quietly. "Deadlines don't care who you are." The comment sticks with her. She's not used to hearing wisdom from someone without power. Later, she sees him again through the glass. He's holding that same photograph. She squints, it's a child. His thumb brushes the corner before he tucks it away. That's when she decides she has to know. The next evening, she follows him. She waves off her driver and trails Terrence through the Chicago streets. He walks with purpose, past bright restaurants and neon signs, into quieter neighborhoods where the buildings look older, more worn. Margaret feels ridiculous, a CEO stalking her janitor like a detective, but she can't stop. Terrence turns into a community center, Lakeview Youth Hub. The building is old, paint peeling, but light pours from the windows. Inside, kids rush to him, grabbing his arms. A woman at the desk waves warmly, and Terrence, he transforms. The tired man from the office stands taller, lighter, alive. Margaret watches through the window. He kneels beside a boy struggling with homework. His voice is patient, encouraging. When the boy gets it right, Terrence claps softly, his face glowing with pride. She presses her hand to the glass. In all her boardrooms, she's never seen that kind of joy. Then Terrence glances toward the door. Their eyes meet. Margaret's heart pounds. She turns and runs. The next night, Margaret tells herself she won't go back. But at midnight, she's following him again. This time, she doesn't hide. She slips inside the center behind him. The place smells like old carpet and warmth. Kids crowd around tables, coloring and reading. A woman hands out sandwiches, and there's Terrence, not invisible, not forgotten. He's needed. Then a little girl runs across the room straight into his arms. She has the same eyes as the child in the photo. Her smile lights up the whole space. "Daddy," she squeals. Margaret's breath catches. Terrence isn't just a janitor working endless nights. He's a single father raising a daughter while helping other kids. He lifts the girl onto his hip. "How was homework, Jasmine?" "I finished before you got here." "That's my girl," he says, grinning. Margaret's throat tightens. She thinks about her own childhood, nannies, tutors, private schools, everything handed to her, while this man carries a weight she can't imagine. Then Jasmine spots her. "Daddy, who's that lady?" The room goes quiet. Terrence turns, his eyes landing on Margaret. "Miss Foster," he says slowly, "what are you doing here?" Her mouth goes dry. For once, she has no answer. "I wanted to understand," Margaret finally whispers. Terrence's gaze softens slightly. "Most people don't." He pulls out a chair. "You want to understand, then sit." Margaret sits among the children, feeling out of place in her expensive suit. A boy across the table holds up his notebook. "Mr. Washington, can you check this?" Terrence glances at Margaret. "You any good with fractions, Miss Foster?" She blinks. "Fractions? Yeah, I think you can help." Margaret hesitates, then leans in. She stumbles through an explanation. When the boy gets it right, he grins. "Thanks, lady." She laughs, a sound that surprises her. Terrence watches her. They don't need much, just someone who shows up, someone who believes they're worth the time. Margaret looks around the room, cracked walls, worn books, eager faces. She thinks about her company's polished slogans about community impact. Suddenly, they feel hollow. "You do this every night?" she asks. "Every night I can. After cleaning your offices, after cooking dinner, after Jasmine's homework. Some nights I'm dead on my feet, but these kids don't get another chance." Margaret's chest tightens. She spent years climbing to the top, believing success meant power and money. But sitting here, she feels something she hasn't felt in a long time: humility. Then Terrence surprises her again. "Come on, might as well see the whole picture." They walk a few blocks to an aging apartment building. Inside, the space is small but clean. The couch has tape over a rip. The table wobbles. On the fridge are Jasmine's drawings and spelling tests with gold stars. "Make yourself at home," Terrence says. Margaret stands stiffly. "It's nice. It's what I can manage." She notices a photo on the shelf, a woman with Jasmine's smile. "Her mother?" Margaret asks quietly. Terrence's movement still. "She passed. Jasmine was 3. "I'm sorry." Life doesn't stop though. Bills keep coming. Kids keep growing. You either keep going or... He trails off. "How do you do it?" Margaret asks. "Don't you ever feel like it's too much?" Terrence laughs softly. "Every single day. But what choice do I have? Jasmine didn't ask for this. Those kids at the center didn't either." Jasmine climbs onto his lap, eyes heavy. "Daddy, can you read before bed?" He kisses her head. "Of course." Margaret watches as he reads, his voice soft and patient. The exhaustion doesn't matter. All she sees is love. Her chest aches. She's built a company, but this man is building something more precious, a child's future. The next morning, Margaret walks into her office with new eyes. During a board meeting, one director proposes cutting costs. "We outsource the janitorial staff. Contract work instead of full-time. Saves millions in benefits." Margaret's gaze flicks to the window. She imagines Terrence hearing he'd lost his benefits, unable to afford Jasmine's health care. She slams her pen down. "No." The room goes quiet. "We're not cutting staff like that. We're not saving money by hurting the people who keep this company standing. An executive frowns. This is business, it's not personal. Margaret leans forward. It is personal. It's always personal to the people whose lives we affect. Maybe it's time we remembered that. No one argues. Later that week, she returns to Lakeview with boxes of supplies, notebooks, pencils, laptops. Terrence looks surprised. What's all this? A start. You shouldn't have to carry this alone. The kids swarm excitedly. Terrence crosses his arms. Why are you really here, Ms. Foster? Margaret meets his eyes. Because I was wrong. I thought I understood what mattered. I didn't, not until now. For a long moment he's silent, then he nods. Weeks pass. Margaret keeps coming back. The kids call her Miss M. She helps with homework, brings food, just sits and listens. One evening, as Terrence stacks chairs, he says, I never asked why you kept showing up. Margaret leans against the wall. Maybe because I needed to. Maybe because I realized I've spent years looking at numbers instead of people. Terrence smiles. I didn't open your eyes, you just finally decided to see. Back at the office, Margaret rolls out new initiatives. Scholarships for employees' children, expanded benefits for maintenance staff, a partnership with Lakeview Youth Hub. Some executives protest. Shareholders won't like it. Margaret doesn't flinch. Shareholders don't build this company, people do. That evening when she tells Terrence about the programs, the room erupts in cheers. Jasmine runs to hug her dad. Terrence extends his hand. Thank you. Margaret shakes it firmly. No, thank you. Walking to her car that night, Margaret feels something she hasn't felt in years. Peace. Real change doesn't start with billion-dollar deals. It starts with seeing the people right in front of you, the ones you pass every day without a second thought. Your title means nothing if you can't recognize another person's worth. The people you overlook might be carrying the heaviest loads with the quietest strength. So here's the challenge. Next time you're tempted to ignore the janitor, the cashier, the delivery driver, stop. Look them in the eye, treat them with dignity. Because behind every uniform is a story you don't know yet. If Margaret Foster could change, so can you.